Hello, fifth graders, and happy Friday. Today we're going to talk about volume again. Today we're going to use the formula to find volume. We're going to start by going over some cumulative review questions, then you'll take your cumulative review. After that, we'll do a quick mini lesson on volume. You'll have a chance to practice. We'll do some IXL and then take our exit ticket. I know you're going to do a great job, and so does Mr. Smiles. He's back. He's been gone so long, he had to put on a top hat. Let's get started. The first skill you'll see on your cumulative review is adding mixed numbers with renaming. Let's get started by doing a problem. 2 3/5 plus 3 1/2. I can start by drawing my t-chart with whole numbers on the left and fractions on the right. I'm going to put 2 3/5 and 3 1/2. I can't add these fractions like they are because they don't have the same denominator. I need to find the least common denominator. Go ahead and list your 5s and your 2s and find the LCD. The LCD is 10. Now I need to convert both fractions so that the denominator is 10. When I convert 3/5 so that the denominator is 10, what's the new numerator? Well, 5 times 2 is 10, 3 times 2 is 6. When I convert 1/2 so that the denominator is 10, what's the new numerator? Well, 2 times 5 is 10, and 1 times 5 is 5. Now I can add my fractions. What's 6/10 plus 5/10? It's 11/10. 11/10 can't stay on my fraction side. I need to change it to a mixed number. Go ahead and divide 11 by 10 to change 11/10 to a mixed number. What's the result? When I divide, I get 1 whole with 1 left over out of 10. So my new fraction is 1/10. I'm going to cross out my 11/10 and put my new fraction. I have 1 whole that I need to add to my whole number side. Now I can add. What's 2 plus 1 plus 3? It's 6, so my answer is 6 1/10. Let's do another. 4 5/8 plus 3 2/3. First, I'm going to draw my t-chart. And put my numbers in. I know that I can't add these fractions like they are because they don't have the same denominator. Go ahead and find the least common denominator. It's 24. Now I need to convert both fractions so that they have a denominator of 24. When I convert 5/8 so that the denominator is 24, what's the new numerator? Well, 8 times 3 is 24, and 5 times 3 is 15. When I convert 2/3 so that the denominator is 24, what's the new numerator? Well, 3 times 8 is 24, and 2 times 8 is 16. Now I can add my fractions. What's 15 over 24 plus 16 over 24? It's 31/24. I know that that can't stay on the fraction side. I've got to divide. Go ahead and divide 31 divided by 24 and write the result as a mixed number. The answer is 1 7/24. So my new fraction is 7/24. Now I've got to add my 1 to the whole number side. What's 4 plus 1 plus 3? It's 8. So the answer is 8 7/24. Now you try one. What's 5 4/5 plus 2 3/4? Go ahead and solve that problem now. The correct answer is 8 11/20. Check your work with mine. We've also been talking a lot about multiplying decimals. Remember, when you multiply decimals, you don't need to line up the decimals. Let's start by multiplying 2 5/10 times 8/10. The first thing I need to do is decide how many digits will go behind the decimal point. How many? Well, 1. 2 digits will go behind the decimal point. Now I can multiply like normal. What's 8 times 5? It's 40. What's 8 times 2? It's 16. Plus 4 more is 20. Now I need to place 2 digits behind the decimal point. So where would the decimal go? it would go behind the 2. So the answer is 2 0/100. Let's try another. 3 17/100 times 5/10. Remember, I don't need to line up the decimal when I'm multiplying. How many digits will be behind the decimal point? Well, 1, 2, 3 digits will be behind the decimal point. Now I can multiply like normal. What's 317 times 5? Write your answer with no comma. Well, 5 times 7 is 35. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3 more is 8. 5 times 3 is 15. Now I need to place the decimal. Where should the decimal go in my number? Well, I need 3 digits behind the decimal. 1, 2, 3. So the answer is 1 585 thousandths. Now you try one. What's 2 19/100 times 6/10? Go ahead and solve that problem now. The answer is 1 314 thousandths. Check your work with mine. We've also talked about multiplying mixed numbers. Remember, when we multiply mixed numbers, first we need to change them into improper fractions. Then we need to multiply. Then we need to change our answer back to a mixed number. So let's start by changing 1 3/4 into an improper fraction. 1 times 4 is 4. Plus 3 more is 7. And the denominator stays 4. Let's change 3 1/2. 3 times 2 is 6. Plus 1 more is 7. And the denominator stays 2. Now I can multiply like normal. What's 7/4 times 7/2? It's 49/8. I can multiply the numerators and multiply the denominators. Now I can divide to change it into a mixed number. When I divide 49 divided by 8, what mixed number do I get? The correct answer is 6 1/8. Let's try another. 2 2/3 times 1 1/3. First, change 2 2/3 into an improper fraction. How do I write 2 2/3 as an improper fraction? Well, 2 times 3 is 6, plus 2 more is 8 thirds. How do I write 1 1/3 as an improper fraction? Well, 1 times 3 is 3, plus 1 more is 4 thirds. When I multiply 8 thirds times 4 thirds, what answer do I get? I get 32/9. Now I can change that to a mixed number. Go ahead and divide 32 divided by 9 to write that answer as a mixed number. The correct answer is 3 5/9. Now you try one on your own. What's 1 2/5 times 4 1/2? Remember, write your mixed numbers as improper fractions, multiply them, then change the product back to a mixed number. The correct answer is 6 3/10. Check your work with mine. The last thing we'll talk about is comparing decimals that are written in different forms. Let's fill in the blank with greater than, less than, or equal to make the statement true. 3 times 10 plus 2 times 1 plus 5 times 1 over 100 plus 6 times 1 over 1000 is greater than, less than, or equal to 32 56/100. To do this problem, we need to write each number in standard form. How do I write 3 times 10 plus 2 times 1 plus 5 times 1 over 100 plus 6 times 1 over 1000 in standard form? Well, 3 is in the tens place, 2 is in the ones place, 5 is in the hundreds place, and 6 is in the thousands place. How do I write 32 56/100 in standard form? Well, 3 is in the tens place, 2 is in the ones place, 5 is in the tens place, and 6 is in the hundreds place. Now I can line my numbers up to compare them. 32 56 thousandths or 32 56/100. Which number is greater? 32 56/100 is greater because 5 in the tens place is greater than 0 in the tens place. Now you try one. Write both numbers in standard form and use the standard form to make a comparison by lining up the decimal points. The first number is bigger. 503 and 29 hundredths is larger than 503 and 284 thousandths because 9 in the hundredths place is greater than 8 in the hundredths place. It's now time for your cumulative review. Log into Elluminate, pause the video, open a new tab, and go to test.kip.school. Then go to 5th grade math cumulative review, April 12th. I know you're going to do a great job. Use your notes from the last 2 pages if you need to. Go ahead and pause the video now and take your cumulative review. Did you take your cumulative review? What score did you get on your cumulative review? Now we're ready to move on to our lesson. Today we're going to talk about finding volume using formulas. We know volume is the number of cubic units that fit inside an object. There are 2 ways we can find volume. We can do length. Go ahead and write this on your paper. Times width times height. Or we can do area of the base, that's length times width, times the height. Let's look at a problem where we'll need both. David and Anna are packing books into boxes. David's box is 15 inches long, 12 inches wide, and 10 inches high. Anna's box is 10 inches high, and the area of its base is 176 square inches. Which box has the greater volume? Separate the space under this problem into workspace for David and Anna. Let's think about what we know about each of their boxes. David's box has a length of 15, a width of 12, and a height of 10. Anna's box has a height of 10 and a base area of 176. I can find the volume of David's box by applying the formula volume equals length times width times height. So first I'm going to multiply 15 times 12. What's 15 times 12? It's 180. Now I can multiply times the height. 180 times 10. What's 180 times 10? Write your answer with no comma. The correct answer is 1,800 cubic inches. Now let's find the volume of Anna's box. We can apply the formula volume equals the area of the base times the height. So I can multiply 176 times 10. Go ahead and do that now. What's 176 times 10? Write your answer with no comma. The correct answer is 1,760 cubic inches. Now I can say which box has the greatest volume. David's box has the greatest volume because 1,800 is greater than 1,760. Let's do the next problem. A gift box is 9 inches long, 12 inches wide, and 2 inches high. So the length is 9, the width is 12, and the height is 2. Go ahead and find the volume of that box now. Multiply length times width, and then times height. The correct answer is 216 inches cubed. 12 times 9 is 108, and 108 times 2 is 216. Now try another. A jewelry box in the shape of a rectangular prism has a height of 8 centimeters. If the base is a square with an area of 144 square centimeters, what is the volume of the jewelry box? So I know that the height is 8 and the area of the base is 144. Go ahead and apply one of our formulas to find the volume. I can apply the formula volume equals area of base times height. So I can multiply 144 times 8. When I do that, the answer is 1,152 centimeters cubed. Let's try a couple more. How has a container in the shape of a right rectangular prism with dimensions of 3 feet by 5 feet by 8 feet? So the length is 3, the width is 5, and the height is 8. What is the volume? Go ahead and find that answer now. The correct answer is 120 cubic feet. Try another. A puzzle box has a height of 7 centimeters. It has a base with an area of 220 square centimeters. What is the volume in cubic centimeters of the puzzle box? Go ahead and find that answer now. Write your answer with no comma. The answer is 1,540 cubic centimeters. Let's try another. What is the volume in cubic inches of the rectangular prism? Go ahead and find that volume now. The answer is 432 inches cubed. Now try the last practice problem. A box is packed with 1-inch unit cubes so that the box is completely full. What is the total number of cubes required is 96. Which set of dimensions could not be the dimensions of the box? Find the volume for every answer choice and choose the one that doesn't have a volume of 96. The correct answer is D. Now solve number 1. Michaela has a jewelry box that is 4 inches long, 6 inches wide, and 2 inches tall. What is the volume of the jewelry box? The volume is 48 inches cubed. Now solve another one. A rectangular prism has a square base with an area of 108 square centimeters. The height of the prism is 35 centimeters. What is the volume? Go ahead and solve for that now. Write your answer with no comma. The correct answer is 3,780 centimeters cubed. Solve for the volume of the prism in number 3. The correct answer is 120. Nadia built a rectangular prism with the same volume as the prism below. Could the measurements be the rectangular prism that Nadia built? Select yes or no. So go ahead and say, which ones could you answer yes to? Which ones had the same volume as this shape? First, I need to find the volume of that shape. 4 times 5 is 20. Times 6 is 120 cubic units. So which ones have the same volume? Go ahead and find out now. B and D are the correct answers. You've done a great job on this video. Now go to IXL Skill EE13 and then you can take your exit ticket. Keep doing an excellent job by working silently in class.